How you doing, guys? I'm back here with another video. This video right here is the B58 versus the S58. Now, what I expect, in my opinion, was better, the S58 all day. Just because the power that it produced and how easy it is. Like, yes, the B58 is easy. You can do a downpipe and a tune. You won't have to even touch the stock. You can keep the stock intake and all. You can push some power. Yeah, you have to change the charge pipe because it's plastic. Over time, you pushing a lot of power. It can crack that. What you don't not want to do is crack that and have one of those pieces flow into your throttle body. Goodbye engine. I don't care how you think it's bulletproof. You flow some stuff in your down your throttle body and it gets into your engine. I mean, I don't care how bulletproof it is. You gonna mess some stuff up. But with the S58, my friend has it, and granted, he's on Boost Mod, and he has a E52 that he's on, a custom one. I'm just on a E40 OTS one right now off the shelf. Um, and I'm good with the E40 for right now. I am gonna get a the D 25 fuel pump, high pressure fuel pump. I am saving up for that, the pay for that to get it. Cause it's like I think 1900 or something like that for it. So I am saving up to get it. Eventually I will get it. I will show y'all, let y'all know. I'm kind of in a uh in a mindset of like, do I get the carbon fiber hood because I found one that's like only 700, and then I have that I can save for. So I'm like, do I go for looks, just have a little lighter hood, or do I go for performance? So I'm gonna save them and actually go for performance. So but anyway, nonetheless, he has the S58, and his car is so, like, it is so fast. It is annoying how fast his car is. I've been in it because I just wanted to feel his horsepower, and this it's crazy. S58, you got it, bro. You got it. You got it. But we're gonna jump into
In
it.
today's video, we'll dive into what makes these two engines so special and pick which of these engines gets to wear the crown of being truly the best BMW engine ever. The B58 engine needs no introduction. Being released in 2015, it was immediately equipped in many different BMW models from the 2, 3, 4, 5 series, even the new Supra that debuted. This engine was an inline-6 that was equipped with a twin-scroll turbocharger, and straight off the factory production line, it was good for up to 382 horsepower and 369 foot-pounds of torque, meaning that anybody could purchase this engine and immediately be thrown back in their seats straight off the factory lot. This engine was immediately acclaimed at being BMW's peak collaboration of power and reliability. This would later lead to the B58 winning the 2020 award for Ward's Top 10 Engines of the Year. And although BMW's won award after award for their amazing inline-6 engines, the B58 specialty was different. It laid in the fact that the B58 was a modular engine. And so what this means is that 80% of the parts on the B58 are cross-compatible with the inline-4 version, which is the B48 engine. So this actually allows BMW to mass-produce parts, meaning that the driver actually had easier access to replacement parts at a lower price point. As well, the modular design enables each cylinder in the engine to create the same amount of power as the next, meaning that the engine puts down power smooth and efficiently while never going out of balance. This engine came from the factory with a forged crank and rods and had a crank girdle equipped to the engine that reinforced the entire block by preventing the crankshaft from bending and allows the engine to withstand high torque figures. And so essentially, BMW owners are getting an engine that can withstand high horsepower figures, creates massive low-end torque, all off the... But now that we've gone over the...
Now, the reason why I'm skipping a little bit, not to push her off, is just because I did a video of all the information he literally just said. It will be in the at the end of the video in case y'all didn't see it. I would have it like at the end where it basically says, "Hey, you want to watch this video, this video." I would have it at the end for you. But I went over that, so I wanted to skip through the new parts. You know what I mean? I want y'all watching and getting bored of watching the same thing you already seen. So
The B58 engine, it's time for us to go on to the new and improved new kid on the block, the S58. The S58 engine released in 2019 and debuted in the new
That
G
car started to
Series
grow.
M models, so the G80 M3, the G82 M4, and so forth. And this engine is BMW's absolute peak of power. It is a twin turbocharged inline-six engine that pushes 473 horsepower and 442 foot-pounds of torque on the standard
yeah.
models.
Yeah.
The competitions get a monstrous 503 horsepower and 479 foot-pounds of torque stock from the factory. And the power of the S58 lies in the smaller details that often get overlooked. Starting off, the S58 is a twin turbocharged engine instead of a single twin scroll turbocharger. But what makes these twin turbochargers different is that they're mono scroll turbos, so they are not twin scrolling, meaning that each turbocharger only has one channel for exhaust flow, which is basically your typical design on most turbochargers that aren't from BMW. And while this makes the engine heavier and technically less efficient than a twin scroll turbocharger, it gives the vehicle more power because there's two of them. On top of this, the S58's compression ratio is redesigned from an 11:1 ratio to a 9.3:1 ratio, and pairing that with the shorter stroke than the B58 engine is able to handle more power. And so the S58 engine is an aluminum closed deck with an aluminum head that's 3D printed. And you might be wondering why 3D printed, and that's because it actually enhances the precision throughout the engine, enabling it to channel exhaust gases
Because it's cheap.
more effectively. On top of that, you're getting a forged crank, forged pistons, and a forged rod, all from the factory, also allowing this engine to handle higher horsepower figures without rebuilding it from the bottom up. And now on paper, the S58 might sound extremely similar to the B58 engine, minus the fact that it has an additional turbocharger, but they're actually completely different from the ground up. The S58 engine built off all the amazing aspects of the B58 and made them even better. 80% of all S58 parts are completely and independently designed, separate from the S55 and B58 engines. And so what this means is BMW's engineers sat down and actually created an essentially a completely different engine from anything they've ever built previously. And this really shows in BMW's hyper focus to the cooling system of this engine. And so looking deeper into the cooling system of the S58, early signs point to great reliability on this engine. BMW equipped this engine with 3 radiators, an additional cooler, and the transmission is supported by a dedicated oil cooling system. And so what this means overall across the board is that transmission temperatures are not going to be dictated and predicated on the rest of the cooling system. You're going to get stable, cool temperatures to the transmission, enabling steady power at all times. As well, the 3 radiators, intercoolers, and heat exchangers on the engine are going to keep oil temperatures low, enabling peak lubrication throughout the engine so we don't have metal-to-metal contact through the internals. And so right off the bat, the cooling system inside of the S58 engine already points that it's going to be very reliable long term. And for those of you who've ever owned a BMW...
Now, side note, I'm just gonna say real fast. That intercooler that I have it on my B58. It's in the front. Ours is different from the S58, I'm pretty sure, but it's in the front. Now that installment is coming soon. I'm also doing that for more cooling as well for my car. I'm not getting any like overheating or anything like that, but I wanted my engine to be a little bit more cooler. Obviously, cooler engine, more power, but I wanted to cool it down just a little bit, and I wanted to change that out. But the aftermarket piece that change it out is just more harder and more aluminum. So as when you're driving those, pieces of rocks that's hitting, it won't damage it as much as the other one. But that's just a side note. But I mean, I didn't know theirs was like still in the front like that. I didn't even know that.
from the E46 onwards know that the cooling system is typically a trouble area on BMWs, but it seems like that's been sorted out with the S58. For anybody who knows anything about performance,
That's a weird way to put that at. You gotta have a guard or something. That little plastic thing is not going to stop that. That you need a bigger guard to cover that. That can easily get damaged or punctured or something like that. Mm.
performance, cooler engines always means more power because you're getting less heat soak throughout the engine and more efficiency. And so although you're getting a twin turbocharging setup with 2 mono scroll turbos, you're able to balance out and stabilize fuel efficiency with power. And on top of the cooling system being redesigned, BMW took special care to revamp the entire fuel system to enhance fuel delivery. And so overall, when comparing the S58 to the B58 or the S55 engine of the previous gen, you're getting the best attributes of the silky smooth inline 6, twin turbochargers, a completely revamped and upgraded cooling system, and improved fuel delivery system, all with a shorter stroke and higher revs. And so you're essentially getting the absolute peak that BMW has to offer in the power department, making this engine the absolute best in terms of power and performance. And so overall, when you pair together the twin turbocharging setup, the shorter stroke, the enhanced cooling system, the enhanced fuel system, and the redesigned compression ratio, you're getting the absolute peak of BMW's performance and power. BMW genuinely outdid themselves. But although power and performance are the craze behind buying these new BMWs, something that most people want on the backside of that is reliability. And starting off from its core, the S58 is still a true-bred BMW engine, still being that 3.0 liter displacement inline 6 that we've grown to love for its smoothness and linear power output. But although power's next to none with this engine, you do have to factor in that it is a twin turbocharging setup. So right off the bat, you're adding one more trouble point to this engine, and it's in the fact that you have 2 turbochargers now instead of 1. And while this reliability concern can be negated when you factor in BMW's improvements in the cooling system, it still does introduce one more trouble point regardless. And being such a new engine and the fact that it just debuted in 2019, we still haven't seen long term how the S58 engine's going to hold up. Something that is a massive improvement in the S58 engine over the previous S55 though is the fact that the crank hub is one piece now, as to where the S55 had it in 2 pieces.
That's what it was. I was thinking about the S55. I was thinking about what fault did that had. I was going to get a car that had the S55 engine in it. I think it was like the BMW GTS or something like that. I saw that when I was about to get my B58. I saw a couple of options I was going to get before I got it. So happy I got it though. But I was going to get it, but I remember a fault that my friend told me about his, that he had to take it out. Like they had to go in the engine, take it out, replace it with something different, and it cost him a little bit of amount. And it wasn't even like, it doesn't even give you horsepower. It's just maintenance prevention, like, because I think one blade goes one way, the other blade can kind of go the other way, kind of can slip, kind of thing. So he wound up getting one that was like one hard piece, whatever like that. But I think they about to talk about it anyway. So
Over the previous S55 though is the fact that the crank hub is one piece now, as to where the S55 had it in 2 pieces. And so anybody who understands vehicles or physics at all understands that a one-piece crank hub immediately eliminates all concerns of the crank slipping under high torque or high horsepower figures. On the S55, since it was a 2-part system, this was something that was a major concern. Anybody tuning up to 500, 600 horsepower on the S55 would run the risk of the crank slipping and essentially the engine having a major costly repair right off the bat. So the one-piece crank hub is an automatic green light for reliability on the S58. That being said, with the B58, this is typically not a concern either because the B58's crank hub was redesigned as well. But just comparing it to the S55, this is something that should be mentioned, that is a green light for really both of these engines that we're reviewing today. And so overall, pointing to the fact that you're getting a one-piece redesigned crank hub, you're getting a dedicated transmission fluid, cooling system, 3 radiators and intercoolers across the front of the vehicle, this engine seems like it's going to hold its own long-term reliability wise. The main thing to take note of is again that you have 2 turbochargers instead of 1, and so that automatically creates a reliability concern over the B58's 1 turbocharger. But now it's time for us to pick which of these engines should you take home and which one is better. And now if we're tying in wickets such as cost and reliability, access to parts, and etc., I would say overall, the B58 has just been around so much longer and is essentially tried, true, and reliable. And for that reason, the average driver would be happier at the lower price point of the B58 engine. And now that being said, if we're picking the best engine of the both, if we compare the S58 side by side with the B58, the overall best engine will definitely be the S58 engine, pushing 500 horsepower on a stock engine. And the fact that BMW's engineers solely redesigned 80% of these components specific to the S58, you can't really get much better than that. The S58 is going to take the crown of now being called the best, in terms of performance at least, the best BMW engine ever. So in all honesty, it can come down to be subjective. Are you buying a car secondhand and you want reliable and power and a car that you can tune up and do your own upgrades to and kind of work on, sort of DIY? Well, the B58's probably for you. Are you buying a brand new G80 M3 competition and you want the absolute cream of the crop? Well, then look no further. The S58 has no competition when it comes to it.
Yes, but the M5 is better with the engine. I forgot what engine the M5 have, but the M5 is up there too because the M5 is like what 560 something or 80 something, I think it is. And the reliability for that one is still good as well. And also, like the M5 pulls a lot fucking hard, and it sounds great. That engine sounds great. My friend got one. He got like a it's like a black one where he got white interior. It's a crazy setup he got. He got a murder out black with white interior. It just looks so good. But yeah, I wouldn't say the S58 is the of all be all, but it is the most one that people use to race because it's the most easiest one that you can get power out of. My friend, he has a JB. He used to have a JB4 on his car. I had a JB4 on my car. His car felt like it was custom tuned how he was running me down. It was pretty embarrassing because he was on 93 and I was on 830. He was fucking me up. Like he was just like, granted, yeah, his is already at four something, mine's at three, getting into four. Well, allegedly at three, but yeah, his car was destroying my car. But yeah, S58 is a way to go, but this depends on your pocket. And when it comes to modding and out single turbo, you're gonna be spending some money. You're gonna be spending some money on it. It's a little bit high up there when it comes to money. Engine wise, I like my B58 because I like how my engine look compared to this with the single turbo that I'm looking at right now. I kind of fuck more with my B58 because bigger turbo wise, like the way how it looks, I like how way how mine will look with a bigger turbo in the front. Because what I'm doing is I'm gonna take that headlight out that I have in front of my car. I'm taking that out. I'm replacing it with a open one. And when I get a big turbo for the air to come in like clean. So but that's not it doesn't look that bad, but it's like the engine itself is not it doesn't appear to me like it doesn't look like oh like this is a nice looking engine. It just looks like it looks better with the engine cover on. Not even gonna lie. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. What would y'all choose, the B58 or the S58? Now there is clips out there with a tuned up B58 versus a tuned S58, and sometimes the B58 wins, and then you got ones of the S58 winning. But it's like, you know what I mean? Um, the S58 it is strong. It is like it is a cheat code. It's literally a cheat code. But let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.